All right, guys. So have I mentioned to you that it has been a great week? Okay, I really do mean that, as it has been enjoyable watching the destruction of the left and the pendulum swing the other way in politics. Okay, because that is truly what is happening. I believe that the tide is turning in the culture war. There's been leftist meltdown after leftist meltdown after leftist meltdown that has really been a sight to behold, and I have enjoyed every single minute of it. And in this video, I have to present you guys another satisfying and thoroughly entertaining leftist meltdown, this time featuring Amazon employees who were allegedly holding a trauma session over Matt Walsh's LBGTQ children's book, Johnny the Walsh. Now, I got to give you guys a little bit of backstory before I play this epic meltdown that happened at Amazon. Matt Walsh, who's conservative commentator for the Daily Wire, who's recently went viral for his appearance on Dr. Phil, in which he debated a non-binary transgender individual. Okay, he has written a children's book called Johnny the Walsh, which is a fictional story that is supposed to highlight the realities that, you know, kids have big imaginations and they pretend to be things that they're actually not. And this book allegorically compares being transgender to pretending to be a Walsh, okay? And it's a story about this child named Johnny who pretends to be a Walsh. And because of that, there's a large number of people that start to believe that he's actually a Walsh, to the point where even his parents are pushing this lifestyle, right? This identity on him, even though Johnny is not comfortable with it. He doesn't truly really understand it. So again, this book, the whole point is to try to point out how kids are being pushed into this lifestyle at ages in which they really don't understand exactly what they're doing. Okay, that's the whole point. Now, the funny part about this is that this book has been a hit, right? It's actually been a bestseller on Amazon, and Matt Walsh has basically bragged about being a best-selling LGBTQ plus and children's book author, right? Now, apparently, this has got under the skin of some employees at Amazon to the point where they needed to have trauma sessions about this book and to scheme around how to demote the book on the site so not as many people buy the book, right? So with that being said, I want to prepare you guys. This right here is peak cringe, okay? But let's go ahead and roll the clip of these Amazon employees having this trauma session. Take a look.
The recommendations that this customer received and that other customers frequently reach out to us about that they're receiving is about a book called Johnny the Walrus. And I want to be very clear, the next two are about books. And I saw someone say, oh joy, we're going to talk about one of them because it's been a very traumatic experience for transgender Amazonians and our transgender customers. What I don't want to come out of this is slamming the books team with a bunch of tickets. They're already aware of this. There are things in this space that are happening. But Johnny the Walrus is a bit of a problematic book. Not a bit. It is not a bit of a problem. It's one hell of a problem. And I would preface this about what the book's about, but the customer we're going to listen to does a great job. So let's go ahead and listen to this customer.
To report a book that you are selling, I just checked your website and the book is still up on there. I hate to tell you, but it says that the book that it is shipped and sold from you, it is by Matt Walsh. It is teaching kids to bully transgenders. Yeah, to bully them into committing suicide, the LGBTQIA, especially transgenders. The story is about a kid who likes to pretend he's different things, and one day he pretends he's a walrus. And the community tells him he either has to be a human or he has to be a walrus or they're going to kill him. He can't be both. He can't pretend anymore. Now, the author, Matt Walsh, just tweeted this yesterday morning at 8:04 a.m. I now have the #1 anti-LGBT book in the country. Any further criticism of me or my book is homophobic.
Give a little bit more commentary about this one. So Johnny the Walrus, this book takes the form of a children's book. It's like a cardboard, like preschool styled book. And you saw in the customer contact how she was talking about Matt Walsh, the author, bragging about being the #1 LGBTQ author in the nation or in the world. And that's because, as you can see in the screenshot here, the book made it to #1 bestseller in LGBTQ books. And actually, I think it was #4 of all books for a day. It's bad faith. It's basically abuse of Amazon systems, and they're intentionally, when I say they, I mean like Matt Walsh and his publishing company and other people like him are taking advantage of Amazon and how the Amazon algorithms work to promote their particular brand of hate and harm on the community.
They reclassified it into politics.
But it's still for sale.
But it's still for sale. And what is the other part of this that is equally disturbing is Matt Walsh is getting ready to release, I believe, a book called "What Is a Woman," and there's also a documentary that comes with it. Jamie Lee shared some information with me about the movie, the documentary that's going along with it, but people are already talking about it. It was very much that style, tricking transgender people into participating, not understanding what they were participating in. And it's called "What Is a Woman?" One man's journey to answer the question. I mean, let's just back up for a second and say, does a man even belong in this conversation? No, he doesn't. But guess what? It's not even on sale yet, and it's #1 in women's studies.
And #1 in the other categories that it's available in as well. Yeah, this is chief mansplaining.
And this isn't a case of. This is a case of someone exploiting our systems, right? Our systems aren't they're not set up to catch. They can, the self-publishing authors, they can categorize their books however they want. And so, I'm sorry. I want to preface this with. I want to preface this with. I also saw someone mention that this is really tough content, and if you're transgender, if you're gender non-binary, and this is super triggering, and this is super I would understand if you needed to leave. The final thing we're going to show is a 30-second clip.
Brace yourself.
Of Matt Walsh, and I want you to brace yourselves. Of Matt Walsh reading his book.
Mommy was told to take.
Woo, boy, that was funny, bro. I'm gonna tell you, dude wiped away a tear and said, "Oh, this is triggering. This is tough." Okay, a book, guys, a book written by Matt Walsh, in which he's basically just trolling the left, and the fact that there are books out there that are being pushed on children that actually are promoting this type of lifestyle. Okay. In my opinion, I think that those books, you can argue, may be pushing kids to do something that they're going to regret later on in life, right? Making changes to their bodies that are going to be permanent, okay? But again, there's not a cross session over that, right? There's a cross session over the fact that Matt Walsh wrote a book that's supposed to be against that, bringing awareness to the fact that these things happen, right? And what you just witnessed there, guys, literally is how these sessions happen at these big tech companies, right? That is how censorship happens. Okay, you get a bunch of woke employees that are soft. Okay, good thing Amazon warehouse workers ain't that soft, right? Amazon will have a business if their warehouse workers that soft. But you get a group of employees that's soft as baby-ish, okay, and they all get together and they complain and they whine until the company decides to do the censorship that they want, right? You notice how they was upset that the book, even though it's not been categorized as LGBTQ anymore, right? They took it out of that categorization. They're still upset that it's still being sold, right? Which tells you what they actually really want. They want to ban the book, right? They want to take the book down from Amazon. They don't want people to be able to buy the book. Again, a prime example of how woke leftists are in these companies that are trying to literally ban books. Right there, you see it right there. That's the conversation they just had, right? So they're going out of their way to try to figure out how do we make sure that people don't get exposed to this book and to make sure this book has less sales, right? I mean, they even went as far, guys, as to strategize against another product / book that Matt Walsh is going to release, okay? His whole documentary about, what is a woman or whatever, right? And they're sitting here talking about, this shouldn't be a topic that men are talking about, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, y'all woke. How do you know whether or not Matt Walsh is a man or a woman, right? Since we don't know what a woman is, how do you know whether or not he's a man or woman? How can you say that Matt Walsh shouldn't be able to speak on this, right? Because you guys can't define what a woman is. So if Matt Walsh identifies as a woman, wouldn't he be able to speak on this? I'm just saying. But again, they're even going as far as to strategize against future products, guys. Again, this is all-out warfare against the guy simply because of his political ideology. You just saw it happen right there, right? You just seen it. And I guarantee you, this stuff happens at Facebook, at Twitter, at Instagram, at all these social media platforms. This is exactly what happens. These are the conversations that happen, and this is what leads to censorship, okay? So, man, that was probably one of the most cringiest things I've ever seen in my life. I can't believe we have people in this world that are this soft. I mean, I'm pretty sure my testosterone levels drop just watching that cry fest over a book, okay? But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.